We start today in Puerto Rico, where the island's government has just announced the allocation of $800 to help buy school uniforms for families that are a part of the TAMF program or the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families program. Our Francis Felix has the story.
2,889 families recipients of the Temporary Assistance Program for Families will receive $800 in their respective accounts for the purchase of uniforms and materials for back to school, confirmed the Secretary of the Department of the Family, Carmen Ana Gonzalez, and the Administrator of the Socioeconomic Development of the Family, Alberto Fradera. Immediately, families will see the aid reflected in their accounts on the single family card. The administrator said in a press release that we will continue to develop other efforts to supporting the different populations that we serve. He specified that the assistance will benefit 7,899 minors between 5 and 17 years. Fradera added that they will be distributing a total of $3,005,093,600 in back-to-school financial aid. This year, the aid amounts to $800 per child, which is $300 more than the previous year. This amount varies from year to year depending on the number of eligible participants. Most of the families are mothers who are heads of households who are in training programs and job search. The $800 for the purchase of school supplies for back to school joins another help already delivered for the student population called the Pandemic Food Assistance Program. Reporting from San Juan, Puerto Rico, Frances Felix.
Well, switching gears now, the Bahamas recently held celebrations to commemorate the island's independence, and much of the celebration centered around prayer. Our One Caribbean News' Deandra Hamilton has more on the cultural celebrations.
A nation that prays together stays together. Among all the weekend celebrations, the Bahamas, which is a Christian nation, ensured that there was thanksgiving to God. The historic ceremony at Clifford Park, where it all began for the country in 1973, opened in prayer. The ecumenical service was led by the Bahamas Christian Council.
Gracious God, we give you thanks for and pray for our education system, the formal system, both public and private. We remember our institutions of learning run by government, private organizations, by the churches. And we pray for the teachers, administrators, ancillary staff, all who make the plant function. But we also pray for the partners equal in this venture.
In the true spirit of its independence theme, proud to be Bahamian, the weekend celebrations also showcased a star-studded cultural extravaganza musically, marked by a meaningful skit laced with Bahamian dialect and proudly carrying that theme.
That biggity man who dressed up in the suit, who came up on Grandpa's concert.
Despite the challenges the Bahamas has faced in the past 5 years, the country continues to hold fast to its motto, moving forward, upward, and onward together.
To the Lord who doth prosper thy work and defend. Surely his goodness, and mercy shall daily attend. Ponder anew what the Almighty, if to the end he be. One more time, say ponder anew.
And that was our Deandra Hamilton reporting there. Well, meantime, shark bites are on the rise across the U.S. mainland. Last year, shark attacks increased 42% from the year before. But even so, scientists say these fish are more afraid of us than we should be of them. Carter Evans takes a look at what's really behind the fear of sharks.
Within minutes of launching the drone,
I found one.
we had our first sighting.
He is right on the shore. He is so close.
It's a juvenile great white shark, 8 to 9 feet long in waist-deep water off a popular Santa Barbara beach. And under the watchful eye of marine biologists from the Shark Lab, we go in for a closer look.
Oh, he's right there. He is literally right here.
For many, this is the stuff nightmares are made of.
The shark is right there. Just about 10 feet up.
But scientists are learning our outsized fear of so-called man-eating sharks is unfounded.
The risk of shark attacks is extremely low. However, people's perceptions of the danger that those kind of encounters pose tends to be much higher.
Psychologist Gabriella Hancock is working with the Shark Lab at Cal State Long Beach to understand what makes people so scared of sharks.
5-month-old babies were not afraid of sharks. So it appears as though our fear of them is learned and socially reinforced.
It turns out, after falling into the water with that juvenile great white, the reaction to scramble back onto the board isn't necessary.
I'm 10 feet behind a large shark, bigger than I am. I lose my balance, I fall in the water, the shark takes off.
They would rather avoid something as big as a person.
In fact, if you do make a move toward a shark, they tend to go the other way.
Exactly. We see this over and over again.
Shark Lab director Chris Lowe says these sharks are actually afraid of us. But despite all the evidence, most people are still terrified of sharks.
You're going to need a bigger boat.
Scientists believe the 1975 movie Jaws caused a generation of people to develop galeophobia, an irrational fear of sharks.
It greatly changed how people perceive sharks.
There's even a term for it, the Jaws effect, a belief that sharks intentionally attack humans.
With popular media, it influences people's attitudes and perceptions such that it exaggerates the danger that these animals pose.
I think what we're starting to see is that Jaws mentality is slowly going away.
A deadly shark encounter.
Shark bite.
Shark attacked.
Media coverage of shark attacks can still amplify people's fears, but it turns out these images of sharks and people coexisting off the coast appear to have a positive effect.
There's growing evidence, scientific evidence, that people's attitudes are changing because they're getting good information.
But even faced with slim odds, the fear of sharks is a hard habit to break. If I asked you, would you get in the water with me?
I'm not equipped.
Okay, I'll let you go.
It's important to remember these are juvenile sharks, but the big question right now is, since this was their nursery, they grew up here and food is plentiful, will they return as adults? Well, so far, none of the juvenile sharks the team have tagged have come back as adults, at least not yet. Carter Evans, CBS News, Los Angeles.